So when I took this job as executive director for Stillheart, the Porters had a very specific directive. One of their directives was to make Stillheart financially sustainable. That's an honest request, a reasonable request, you would think. They wanted to make sure that Stillheart was around long after they were around. And Joan said a little bit about money and how much money they put in. And I think she's a little shy to admit how much, but they put in about $45 million into what we're sitting in here today. And they continue to support Stillheart on a monthly basis by subsidizing our difference between revenue and expenses. And they will continue, I'm sure, as much as they can. Now, here's my dilemma. As a business person in making Stillheart financially successful, and as Bill mentioned when I greeted him today, he said, "You've been a terrible failure." And I've gotten to know Bill a little bit, and I know he's just kidding me. But really, we have. No. No, actually, here's my dilemma. I've launched a lot of businesses before, but I've never launched a business where there is limited inventory to sell. Let me explain. We have 30 days, 31 days in some months. And when we're booked, and in reality, we probably can book about 22 days out of that month. And the reason for that, if any of you have ever stayed in Stillheart, the turnaround time for rooms, we take a lot of time to turn rooms around. When you get in a room, it's impeccably cleaned, and we do a lot more than a normal hotel would do. Not only do we do regular physical cleaning, we do energy cleaning on each of those rooms as well, so that when you get into the room, it is a cocoon, it is a container for you to transform. And it's first come, first serve on the booking. So we never really know if we're going to have big groups, small groups, nonprofit groups, which are on lower rates, corporate groups, which are on normal rates. So when we're booked, we're booked. And in any given week, I usually turn down about 2 or 3 groups that call and inquire and say, "Can I have a retreat on this date?" And I say, "No, I'm sorry, you can't, because we're already booked," and they can't change their dates. So that's what I'm talking about with limited inventory. So we've tried to do some things to increase the revenue outside of having people physically present here, and I'll talk a little bit about some of those. One is we just launched about 2 weeks ago an online learning program. We launched one so far, and hopefully we'll have more. Our Corporate Wellness Council that I talked about earlier should bring in some revenue in terms of membership. And next year, for the first time since I've been here in 2 years, we're going to increase our rates slightly. But even all 3 of them, all those 3 measures together probably wouldn't get us to the point where our revenue and expenses are sustainable. So the most effective way to increase revenue in a big way is to expand the capacity here. I can't, unfortunately, I wish I could, but I can't change the number of days in the month. But we could expand the capacity because Stillheart was envisioned to have more capacity than it has now. Right now we have 26 guest rooms and 57 beds. If we expand the additional 12 tree houses, we're going to have 38 guest rooms and about 80 beds. And the meditation temple will give an added space when we have multiple groups here for a silent retreat or for a different meeting space as well. And I have a great example of a group that was just here literally last week, a publishing group called Barrett Kohler. And they wanted to be here so bad, but we didn't have enough space for them. They ended up housing a group, 10, 15 people, down in the Holiday Inn in Redwood City. And had we been able to have them here, we would have been able to earn a little bit more revenue, but then they would have had a much more cohesive group experience as well, which is very important when you come into this container, as Angeles had pointed out. So what is that all going to take? The tree houses and the meditation temple will cost about $7 million. And that's where we're inviting you to be part of this community. And I know it's probably going through your mind, because I know if I was sitting in one of these seats, I would be thinking this too. Well, why don't the Porters just put in the $7 million and continue supporting it? They've been doing so far. And my answer to that is, Okay, they've already put in $45 million. They've done that as a gift to humanity. They're supporting us on a regular basis, on a monthly basis. And now we've been around long enough where we have enough groups and enough people who have experienced what we do here. And all of you have been invited here because we are all like-minded people in what we believe and the importance of transforming humanity, whether it's on a physical level, a spiritual level, an emotional level, a mental level. All of you, I know, feel that that is extremely important. And what we're doing is, as Ed said, we're all in a community. We're all a family here. We're inviting you into our community by standing up and contributing to Stillheart, whatever you can, and being part of that community and being part of the transformation in the world, being part of the change in the world that we want to create at Stillheart. And the exciting thing about this fundraiser is that we already have an anonymous donor who will match our donations for the meditation temple and the tree houses of up to $2.5 million. That's about half of what we need. So we are very excited to just talk about that and launch that in the talk. And I know Joan wants to come up and say a few words now as well.